Alright, let's break down some of the most complex and misunderstood mechanics in Black Myth Wukong. Today, I'm diving into abilities like Resolute Counterflow, Seeing Through Enemies, and Evanescence to help you unlock their true potential. Seeing Through Enemies is a key feature tied to combos within the Smash stance and Thrust stance. When you unlock skills like Resolute Strike with Resolute Counterflow and Tactical Retreat with offense and defense, you open up a whole new combat flow. Performing these advanced combos is simple. Hit the heavy attack button right after a light attack to execute Resolute Strike when you have at least one focus charge, or Tactical Retreat, which doesn't require any focus. We'll get deeper into focus shortly, but remember, pulling off these moves alone won't trigger Seeing Through. To fully utilize it, you need to time your heavy attack just as an enemy attack is about to land, which you'll know you nailed when you see a red flash. Seeing Through Enemies gives you a moment of invincibility, enhancing your next attack and making it easier to stagger enemies. For Resolute Strike, this mechanic really shines as enemies become more vulnerable, making Seeing Through a skill worth mastering. The timing, however, is tough, so here's the trick. Use light attacks like usual, but keep that heavy attack button ready as if you're dodging and aiming for that perfect dodge. Remember, if you time it too early, you'll miss. Only trigger Seeing Through just as the enemy is about to hit you. The reality is, you'll likely be doing these varied combos without triggering Seeing Through every time. It's still worth it though, especially once you start upgrading. For instance, unlocking the next skill down in Resolute Strike opens Skyfall Strike, adding a second heavy attack to the mix if you have another focus charge. Skyfall Strike is almost guaranteed to stagger even tougher enemies, making it a staple of your toolkit. Meanwhile, with Tactical Retreat, if you have a focus charge ready, you can follow up with Forceful Thrust for extra damage and stagger. Now let's dive into focus charges, those glowing dots on your focus gauge. Focus is one of the game's most vital mechanics. It fuels the most powerful staff attacks, and as you get deeper into the game, those attacks are going to be essential. You can build up focus in two ways. First, by hitting enemies with light attacks and pulling off perfect dodges where you leave a ghost image behind. These actions build up your focus meter, which once full grants a charge. You start with one slot, but you'll want to invest points and skills on the stance page to unlock more. Invest in focus attack skills along the left side to add more slots, with the final slot working a bit differently, which I'll cover in a sec. The main goal, unlock focus attack 2 and 3 to boost your charge capacity. With focus charges in hand, you have a few ways to use them. A straightforward option is hitting heavy attack, which unleashes a stronger hit, particularly potent with 2 focus charges as it can nearly always stagger enemies. A typical combat loop here would be building at least 2 focus charges with light attacks, then unleashing them with a heavy attack or a combo like Resolute Strike. Another option, you can manually charge focus by holding down the heavy attack button. This move gives you the same heavy attacks as naturally charged focus, but with a few trade-offs. The big one, you have to use all the focus immediately upon release. In other words, manually charged focus is use it or lose it. Any dodge or hit you take while charging will drain all the focus, including the normal built-up charges. Only attempt manual charges when you're safe. When you unlock Force Unbound for Smash Stance, manual charging becomes even better since you can move while charging, making Smash Stance your go-to for damage. With Smash Stance, you can start charging during a combat lull, then sprint to stay mobile. Smash hits harder than other stances, so think of it as your primary damage dealer. Consider pairing it with the Pilgrim's armor set for boss fights. Its level 4 perk grants a damage boost for every second you're sprinting up to 10 seconds, letting you combine a fully charged smash hit with an extra armor perk. This combo is especially useful mid-combat after immobilizing an enemy, giving you time to run circles while charging focus. But smash stance isn't all there is to it. Thrust stance is also versatile, with Tactical Retreat and Forceful Thrust as affordable options for conserving focus. For Whirling Thrust, I recommend quick taps on light attack instead of holding it, contrary to the skill's description. Compared to the focus-heavy Resolute Counterflow set, Thrust Stance combos are a lot less costly. If you've unlocked Invigoration and Resolute Strike, Seeing Through an enemy will also grant a focus charge, making sustained Resolute Strike and Skyfall Strike chains easier to pull off. On the other hand, Pillar Stance is more situational. A fully charged heavy attack does decent stagger and damage, and Sweeping Gale helps with crowds. Pillar Stance shines when facing multiple ground-level enemies or ground attacks from bosses. But remember, Pillar Stance drains stamina fast, and upgrading stamina isn't recommended early on. Health and mana upgrades give more bang for your buck. Next up, let's break down Focus Overcharge. Once you've unlocked your 3rd focus slot, charging focus to max capacity again turns the entire gauge gold, allowing for a supercharged attack, but it only lasts 10 seconds, after which it drops back to the 3rd level. While it's tempting to shoot for Overcharge constantly, the trade-off is missing out on consistent focus use through varied combos or stagger heavy heavy attacks, which together deal more damage over time. Go for the Overcharge if it happens naturally, but it's often better to keep the focus flowing. For the light attack combo, you'll want to know that it's composed of 5 moves, with the 5th hit packing the most power. Light attacks use stamina, and running out means weaker hits, so be mindful. Enemies often counter after the 3rd hit, so avoid button mashing and press intentionally, ready to dodge if necessary. With composure, you can continue combos after dodging. Aim for the first 3 hits, dodge, then finish the 4th and 5th hits to maintain focus while dealing damage. Jump attacks are another useful tool. Jumping and hitting light attack lets you bounce off enemies, creating distance. This move is perfect for testing enemy attack patterns since it lets you build focus safely. For more damage, follow up with a heavy attack slam. It's one of the rare situations where a heavy attack without focus is worthwhile. Finally, let's address Evanescence. It's an upgrade for your immobilized spell, extending immobilization and increasing damage. To activate Evanescence, cast Immobilize just before an enemy strikes. You'll see the Destined one leave a ghostly image similar to a perfect dodge. While powerful, the timing is tricky, and being late costs your Immobilize charge. Lean toward early activation to avoid losing your charge and taking damage. You've probably been using Immobilize a lot, but don't neglect other spells. Ring of Fire becomes available in Chapter 3, and Spellbinder, found in the Treasure Hunter's quest, is a powerful option for melee-focused players, though it restricts your spell use. Cloudstep and Rock Solid also offer distinct playstyles. Cloudstep leaves a decoy, giving you a breather to heal or use other spells. I find Cloudstep great for long battles, offering a safe window for healing. Rock Solid functions as a parry, rewarding aggressive timing. Let's talk strand abilities and transformations. Pluck of the Many creates clones that deal decent damage and distract enemies, though it drains mana. Upgraded clones become stronger, so this spell can be invaluable. Meanwhile, Red Tides, different from Gangi in Chapter 1, is an early transformation spell with 4 special attacks. I recommend the forward slam for close combat and the backward attack for ranged hits. Spirit transformations are distinct from spells, with 55 varieties fueled by chi. Favorites like Wandering White and Earthwolf deal quick damage and come with passive boosts. Earthwolf is great for guaranteed hit since it tracks enemies better. Spirits can also be upgraded in the Cultivation tab for increased power, but save rare items like Knots of Voidness until you're sure of your favorite spirits. Don't overlook medicines either. Elemental resistances like Body Cooling Powder for fire also reduce general damage from similar enemies. Before a boss fight, consider stacking resistance and damage boosting medicines for an edge. For even more combat tips and tricks, be sure to subscribe and join me live on my Twitch channel, Andrith the Alpha, where I'll dive into gameplay live and break down strategies with you. Whether you're learning the ropes or mastering advanced techniques, I'm here to help. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.